They, yeah. Yeah, they actually do exist, and there is I put in your packet there is a reference to one company called Compass Health. In fact, they're doing this right now for Garmin. I call it a medical home, but they provide all those services that I talked about here in this talk today.
And what are their credentials?
What, I'm sorry?
What are their credentials?
Well, basically, they were started by actually by a physician. And their credentials would be that they would tell you their credentials would be they have healthcare professionals on staff that help people through this process.
And do you feel like all employers are going to go that direction?
I feel like you're crazy if you don't go that direction. And I forgot to mention the cost of this. I mean, generally they're going to charge you somewhere between $3 and $5 per employee per month to do this. And what's fascinating about it is that I mean, they'll cover your whole family, and they'll cover. I think they've told me they'd even cover people like your parents too that needed help with Medicare questions. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the holy grail of medical cost transparency. None of us know this stuff. I mean, I stand at open enrollment meetings and what's that?
So are you anticipating?
What's that? Yeah.
Are you anticipating that this is just do you anticipate that those persons working for the employers will also have the ability to negotiate the rates because of the knowledge they have, so that Dr. Strangelove and Dr. Feelgood would be on the same plane level if they would negotiate?
I think it's a possibility. Yeah, because it'd be like going into the Great Bazaar in Turkey, and you got a guy telling you a rug costs $50 over here, but I can get it for $25 over there. I mean, and I'm not trying to minimize the importance of the healthcare world by comparing it to a rug sale, but we've never had this information, and I don't know. Maybe Dr. Strangelove says, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it for $2,500. I'm going to do it for $2,900. I don't know, but I do know that you are in a lot more powerful position as a consumer if you've got this information. And, well, I don't think that's right. I don't think consumers would ever say that they've had it.
Not the consumers, no. There are those of us who
Oh, no question. Yeah, I mean, there's a group of people that have the information. This idea is that the consumer, the buyer of health care, which is the employee and the employer, don't have this information. And so this is a way to empower these people to have access to the information, to negotiate better deals, to get better care for that matter too, to find the right doctor. And actually to help they'll actually walk through the EOB with you and help you resolve those kind of issues as well.
So do you think that the insurance companies will explain that we pay X amount extra for this service, this is what it will do for you? I mean, do you anticipate this will increase their premium, is what I'm asking? And then they will provide the service? Or are they just going to provide the service?
I'm suggesting that this is going to help reduce the cost, that it reduced the cost of the employee, it reduced the cost of the overall claim experience for the group. Our anticipation is then that the cost of insurance would go down, or at least it wouldn't rise as quickly. Because as I said before, I mean, right now, medical trend is somewhere between 7 and 8%. So, our goal and all of the stuff that we do is trying to level out that trend. So that's one of the main points of this whole thing, is to try to help consumers drive down the cost. Yeah.
Doesn't the employer contract directly with Compass? Isn't Compass a spin-off of Holmes Murphy?
Yeah. It's not a spin-off of Holmes Murphy. I don't think it is. I don't know. I don't think it is. Is it? I'm not affiliated with Holmes Murphy, so I don't know. I brought up Compass. Compass is one of the leaders, one of the first groups to do this. There are a bunch of others right now that are popping up, and it's an area that I think if you're not getting into as an employer, I think you're making a mistake. I mean, transparency is, you listen to President Obama, you listen to healthcare people, anywhere in the country, transparency is the word. But, how do we get there? And this is a way to get there.
I think just, and I apologize, Dr. Mehdi, but I think David's going to be available. I think some of this will hopefully be explained with our next speaker also, which I'm really, Dave, by the way, thank you so much. I think he's going to be available. I can't speak behind a podium, so I'm going to pull this off. But and I think also, Connie, kind of to your point, this has been my perspective to case managers for 4 years now. I do think there is an opportunity for case managers in the next generation to kind of drive forward this conversation, because as David's talking about price comparison, I think the issue that we all deal with specifically in the work comp market, but in all markets, is what are you getting? Are the apples and apples really the same? And are we really comparing the same thing? And what is the value over the cost? Case managers in particular have stood in that space and been such a great resource for employers for a long, long time. And I think as we move forward and we really talk about transparency and we talk about value and what we're getting for our medical care dollars, case managers have an opportunity to provide a lot of value in that space, and then also differentiate themselves from other resources that may be saying they're doing it but not have the same expertise level that case managers have been walking around for ever with in this space. So that's my little side note about it, but I think it's important to talk about it, because I think just as David talked about price comparison, we always talk about, well, in order to compare prices, you got to know that your apple and your apple are the same thing. And we know in the medical world that there's different kinds of providers and different value of providers and different quality of providers that can, especially in the work comp world, really translate into a meaningful difference, return on investment. And that's where Karen's going to talk about next, and I'm really excited about, because just like I've been talking about, case managers have an opportunity. I believe that work comp is the right place to start to evaluate the difference among providers. I think there's an incredible opportunity within that space to really do something meaningful for healthcare that maybe can translate up and down the chain to group health and Medicare. But work comp is where my position is it ought to start. And our next speaker that's going to come up after our break, I'm really excited for you guys to hear, because she's going to talk about work comp and outcomes and work comp and how they're different and more attainable and more navigable. And I think I'm super excited about it.